Breaking news with New Metro. Today, we have a very distinguished guest here in studio with us. Stefan Reda is the marketing manager at United International Pictures. And he is one of the most diligent, meticulous, and exuberant marketing professionals I've ever had the privilege and honor to work with. And he's here today to share insights and also talk about the exciting future with New Metro in collaboration with UIP. And I can just say that his innovative approach and his commitment to excellence has been nothing short of remarkable, and it's also driven success and captivated audiences. So a warm welcome to you, Stefan.
Thank you so much. Your words are so kind.
Of course. And so let's get right into it. I want to know exactly, can you briefly explain what is UIP and how does it fit into the cinematic universe in South Africa?
So United International Pictures is a company half owned by its parent companies, and that is half owned by Paramount Pictures and half owned by Universal Pictures. And outside of the US, we have a number of offices for United International Pictures, and there we distribute films for Universal Pictures and Paramount Pictures.
Ah, okay. And what are some of the most iconic titles that UIP has brought to South Africa? You can tell us about.
Great titles. On the Universal side, Minions, Despicable Me, The Fast and the Furious, the entire franchise. And just to tell you, one of the first titles I ever worked on in my career was Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, it gives away a little bit. Jurassic World. Then on the Paramount side, Mission Impossible, which is one of the titles coming up next year. We also have Scream. We would look at old titles within the catalog like Saturday Night Fever, Grease, the Godfather series on the Universal side as well, some deep catalog. It has a second name as the House of Horror. So we have Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Creature of the Black Lagoon. It also encompasses a dark universe, which is on the Universal side. So yeah, really iconic titles that anyone can identify with.
I am very excited for those ones, especially the darker titles. That's amazing. So let's talk about the upcoming releases. One of my favorite bits now is, of course, Gladiator 2 and Wicked. And I know you're extremely excited in particular about Wicked and what you've been involved in with that. But can you tell us what is so special about these titles? And also, like, why will it resonate with the audience in South Africa?
Two of the genres that do really well in South Africa is action and family, and these two titles fall perfectly into those categories. Yeah. So on the Gladiator side, it's been 24 years. Can you believe the first Gladiator came out in the year 2005? Oscars, Best Picture, Best Actor with Russell Crowe. So the title, and obviously towards a male target audience, was really an incredibly iconic title. This is 24 years later. It's a continuation of the story. But as I say, that action genre really resonates with audiences in South Africa. Wicked, on the other hand, as you say, I have a real passion for this. I have seen the show on Broadway. Real fantasy. And in South Africa, we got a parental guidance for it. So anyone can come and see it. You can literally bring your whole family. It will be a great experience. If you have younger girls or even older females, fall very squarely into a secondary target audience of females who will love this. The escapism, I mean, some of it played out behind us. And yeah, a great aha moment if you know what happened in The Wizard of Oz and then eventually have seen the whole of Wicked.
Right, we were talking about that. Yes, The Wizard of the Oz was another relatable moment that I was thinking about when you were explaining about Wicked. And also with Gladiator, with the first one, there was that soundtrack, that Elysian soundtrack that just sends you into this blissful moment. And I hope they bring that here. And we were talking about also Denzel Washington helming this.
His role in this new one is much larger than you would expect. He literally is basically in all of it. He has a fantastic presence. Yeah. And I think audiences, and especially African audiences, will really gravitate to it.
Nice, yes. Okay. Are you bringing him here to South Africa?
Oh,
So, can you talk about some of the activations and exciting things that fans can look forward to in terms of these two titles that are releasing?
Quickly to touch on Gladiator, I know that we are having a massive fan screening with New Metro. It'll be at Emperor's, obviously Emperor's Palace. Thematically, it makes so much sense to have a big event there. Dricus du Plessis will be our spokesperson.
UFC middleweight champion of the world.
But more so, modern day South African gladiator.
Oh,
and I
yes.
think,
I love that.
And
yes.
I think that's the thing that'll help us within the comms, obviously, of that activation. Just something quickly to talk about. Wicked, we are sending some influencers from South Africa and all of Africa, actually. We have some people from Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, and we are sending them to the junket. 5 of them were chosen specifically out of the TikTok Visionary Voices of Africa list. So we are sending some real big TikTokers across to go and speak to Ariana Grande and to Cynthia Erivo.
Oh my God, what an amazing opportunity. That is so wonderful that you guys thought of that and are able to do that for local creators. Wow, well done.
Thank you.
To UIP, that is amazing to hear. So what I'd like to know is, how exactly do you select these titles that are coming to South Africa, and what are some of the sort of actions that go into your decision-making process?
So we are in English-speaking territory, South Africa. It really is the one language that binds all of it, because we have 11 different languages here. And we work for 2 Hollywood studios that pushes product out in English official version. So the choice has become really, really easy, because we go with most of what they have online. They have more than 100 years of filmmaking history, each one of them. So we really do trust that, and obviously they are our parent company. So we take mostly that. So the decision making is really when it comes to nuances. For example, Paramount had a title 2 years ago. I think it was called AT for Brady. And it really is about the NFL playoffs. Now, the affinity towards that kind of sport is not within South Africa. So at that point, obviously, we thought, no, it would really be quite an Americanized audience that would watch something like that, and maybe South African audiences won't gravitate to that. So those kind of smaller things, or if you think a title is really niche, maybe a foreign language title, which we do have art house audiences here, but certainly that's not the mainstream audiences of South Africa.
Cult classics,
yeah.
Cult classics. That's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that insight. What would you say are some of the sort of challenges and opportunities that are faced within the cinema industry in South Africa?
Some of the challenges, I think, is the pure migration of how we have consumed content over the years. If you think back at it, early 1900s, Nickelodeon-style cinemas, people were flocking to go and see content there because it was really a thing to go and do out of home. Then you got multiplexes. Eventually we got massive IMAX screens. In New Metro's instance, the extreme experience that you can go with massive sound, massive screen. And then at some point, obviously, you got massive screens in your house. And now with Netflix and all of these streaming platforms, you can start consuming content in other ways than the traditional going out and watching it at the cinema, for example. So I think that is a major challenge for all of us. But in the same breath, with that comes a major opportunity, because no one else can recreate the cinematic experience. People sometimes have a lot to say about it, but there is something to say about people crunching popcorn in your ear.
Yes.
It's that shared experience of going, oh, when someone is with a knife behind someone else, which you can't really create. You need a full cinema for that.
It
so
creates
I think
that ambience, I think. Yeah.
So I think that's the one
ambience.
thing that we need to keep on pushing for exhibition as well as for distribution, is you can't beat this experience. Best sound, best seat, best popcorn ever.
Best everything, yes. That's amazing. Thank you for mentioning that. That's one of my key points of going to the cinema, is just experiencing that on the big screen. So let's talk about the future of cinema now. What can we sort of expect from UIP in the coming months, in the coming years? And are there any projects or partnerships that you're excited for on the horizon?
I think one of the great partnerships we have been able to nurture is the one with Comic-Con Africa. We have incredible intellectual property
Yes.
intellectual properties between the two studios. If you think about it, this year Wicked, next year again Jurassic World, How to Train Your Dragon. These are things that will keep on going. There's a live action, yes, of How to Train Your Dragon by Universal and DreamWorks next year, which we will be working on. So to keep on nurturing that partnership, obviously, and I was very happy to see that New Metro had a pop-up cinema for the first time this year at Comic-Con Africa.
It was so cool.
Which is really fantastic, because going to the cinema is always going. That's one of the some of the titles you can look forward to for next year. How to Train a Dragon, as I said. Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy in February. The funniest, the trailer's already out, go and watch it. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 2. That is the actual film which Tom Cruise shot here in Hoedspruit. You can look out for that. That is coming in the July school holiday period. And then a number of titles. I mean, we are,
The
as I
Smurfs
said,
is another one that you were excited for.
Yeah, Smurfs, we are very excited. That's now in that July school holiday period as well. So we are hoping to paint everything blue, New Metro included.
I love that. Okay, and then just lastly, I'd like to know, and I know you mentioned this briefly as well with the TikTokers, which is amazing, but it's like, how is UIP sort of supporting local creators and local filmmakers and the contents with that?
So local filmmakers, our doors always open. If you have a great project, if you have a great script, if you already have shot something, you want to bring it to us, we read all of those. Our door will be open to anything. and then obviously the selection process will start from there. What are we doing to try and help local creatives? I think the TikTok example is pretty good, but we screen all the time to influencers, to specific target audiences, and influencers and content creators will become more and more important in our industry, I think, with years to come.
But I love the opportunity that you created, and it's so wholesome to hear that these 5 are getting to go to interview these amazing, international celebrities. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. It was so insightful and just exciting to hear about all these titles and what we're excited for. And make sure you go check out the awesome UIP movies that are coming out this year, guys. It's going to be amazing.